What's up, everybody? This is JP. I'm happy to be here to bring you this information and details of past missions that I have talked with Dr. Michael Salla. In U.S. Army Insider Missions, Volume 1, Chapter 4, page number 57, I talk about a friend of mine called Lovent. I used to walk to work from my house. I didn't have no car. I used to walk through this big parking lot with office buildings. Early in the morning, everybody's closed. There's no cars in the parking. I used to go through there because it was a shortcut to go to my work. So every time I went past there, I used to love looking at the stars, no light pollution. It was beautiful. So I used to like taking that shortcut. But one day, I saw an egg-shaped ship parked, and I looked at it, and it turned like halfway down. It turned like a metallic white, and I'm like, "What the heck is that?" And then I see an Indian-looking guy. Yeah, I'm talking about Lovent, and he's waving his hand. And I'm like waving back, and I fixed my eyes, and I was having the same feeling as when I was having the experience in Brazil. And he's like waving his hand, so I walked towards him, and we used to go do a lot of missions, different types of missions together. Quite interesting, the experience. Every time I came back, I used to get interrogated by these people in the white van. They used to take me into like this big white warehouse and interrogate me, and they're like, "We know where you've been, and we want to know all the details of everything that you've been doing." And I used to stay quiet, but I used to share my information with Dr. Salla, and he used to document it on one. A lot of good information there. But he used to tell me about Lovent. I'm talking about Lovent now. He used to tell me about him living in the moon. And I know there's a lot of speculation of what's happening in the moon right now. The moon is an interesting place. Lovent told me that there's a city in the interior of the moon, and that these people that live there don't know what is Earth. They don't know nothing about the outer part of the moon. So these people, they live their life inside the moon, not knowing what's outside. And I kind of felt sad hearing that there's people inside the moon not knowing what is Earth or what is the solar system. I think it's like that also in the inner Earth. There's people and there's beings there that don't know what is the outer Earth, or never seen clouds before, or never seen stars, or never seen the moon. It's like putting in the same perspective as when somebody never had an encounter or an experience with an ET or never seen a UFO. And I'm sure they have technology so advanced that they don't need to come out from that interior bubble of the moon. This particular city that's inside the moon. Something to think about. On Earth, humans are living more in their house in the 2020s than in the 1990s because of technology. I remember me going outside and playing with my friends. But now, because of technology, everybody is in their house bubble, and they have everything in their hands. They have the world in their hands. So imagine a civilized or an advanced civilization. They feel safe. They stay in the bubble. And I'm sure it's like that in the Earth. They have all the technology they need, and they have all what they need to survive. So they don't need to come out from that particular environment, that particular. So Lovent, like me, he was chosen to go on these particular missions, and not a lot of his people knew about him going on these particular missions. Just like me over here on Earth. And I'm sure these particular ships, they pick up other people around the world and take them to different missions and other particular situations that they go through. If you do see one of these ships parked anywhere, approach it. Wave your hand at it. Who knows, you'll probably go to a mission or an experience that you would never forget. And I asked Lovent, how did he receive this invite on these particular missions? And Lovent told me that first, prior of everything, he had an orb visiting him and measuring his frequency. And I'm like, holy crap, that's what happened to me. I had an orb visiting me. These particular lights of balls that they come and visit you and measure your frequency, measure your feelings. And I actually have pictures of these orbs that in the book you guys can see it, but I'm going to show you here now these particular pictures. The way these orbs act, they're so intelligent. When I took out my camera and I saw this particular orb measuring my frequency, I took a picture of it. Boom. And I had the picture. And this light went up to my kneecap. And I could feel beautiful sensation. My whole body was like, my hairs were all up. And I was like, oh my goodness, what is this feeling? I felt like I was touching the Nordic ship in Brazil and having my first contact again. And these particular orbs, they come to you when you least expect it. And you know that when they come to you, you're going to have contact. You're going to have communication. And I took my camera away, and then I put my hands out and I reached to the orb and I took another picture of this particular orb. And I felt the heat, the electricity through my arm, and I felt this love sensation. What I'm telling you now is, if you have contacts with these orbs, receive it as a frequency, because after these particular contacts with these orbs, that's when you have these visitation of these ETs and these visitation of extraterrestrials beings or inner earth beings. It is quite lovely experience. This was a little bit more detail of, my friend Lovent and the orbs. And JP out. I love you guys, and hug and kisses.